Your journey across the sea has taken you to the West Isle. On the West Isle, you will hear the tale of a maiden in red. Very well then, prepare to go ashore. The West Isle's parched, russet-colored expanse greets you. The bones of weaker travelers strewn about it, as both welcome and warning. You dock your ship at the pier and set foot ashore. Laddie takes a deep bow in the direction of the Bon-Bon, as if thanking it for safely delivering everyone to land. You consult your navigation map once more to confirm your location, and resolve to head through the gorge toward Hero's Dominion. You come across an open-air stall. A sign reads, "Goods bought here." As you peer into the stall, its proprietress calls out to you. This is an exchange shop. We'll pay good money for whatever, but this determines the price, she continues, revealing the die in her hand. It seems she's finished buying for the day. The proprietress begins closing up shop, and you go on your way. Laddie appears to have found something on the roadside. You look where she is pointing, and inside the pouch is a simple but beautiful necklace. Laddie's eyes light up at the sight of it. You gently place the necklace around Laddie's neck. Though she initially looks confused, when you say, "It looks nice on you," her cheeks flush slightly and she smiles. A thief appears. The brigand points at Laddie's simple necklace and yells, "Give that back." He continues, insisting in a rather courteous tone. "That necklace was something I stole from an accessory shop in Hero." As the thief would have you believe, he pilfered the bauble from the shop and then dropped it in the midst of his escape. He grabs for it and tries to wrench it off Laddie's throat. You've no choice but to fight to defend your ally. And fight. magnificent. You look down at the thief, splayed flat on the ground, and say a few words of admonishment. If you take it, the brigand seems to regret what he's done and cries back, "Please listen. I want to return the stolen necklace to the shop I took it from." Honeyed words alone will not let you trust this wayward larcener. You choose not, however. The thief does not give up. Practically bawling at this point, he makes a tear-filled appeal. "I just want to make up for the wrongs I've done." You believe the thief's tears of regret are genuine, so you take the simple necklace from Laddie and hand it over. The thief bows his head deeply and then heads off in the direction of Hero's Dominion. You happen to look down and spot a dingy charm on the ground. On the back of the charm is a child's writing. "Daddy, do your best at work." Kind of prone to dropping things, isn't he? You utter, somewhat flabbergasted, as you slip the charm into your pack. From out of nowhere, a sweet fragrance wafts over you. You look up to there's a reasonably sized stone at your feet. A precise pitch at the tree's bough could knock some fruit loose. You take the stone in hand and wind up. Your pitch strikes a ripened fruit dead on. Its splatter rains down upon your heads. Fight him off. not really looking to sell anything, so you ignore it and go on your way. You make your way through the gorge, its walls of russet stone towering above you. It too is littered with the bones of fallen warriors and their sandblasted blades. Unnerved, you steal only brief glances at them as you charge ahead. But you notice Laddie regards them with a certain no one says a word for quite some time. Isn't that the Dominion? Lack chirps from its resting place in Laddie's hood, breaking the silence. Indeed, the gorge gives way to a large basin, at the center of which presumably lies Hero's Dominion. Laddie wipes the sweat from her brow and shuffles toward a nearby rock to sit down. Stop! That's a monster, you shout. Too late to prevent it from attacking poor Laddie. In one swift blow, a wild-eyed boy strikes the monster down. "You all right?" he barks, turning to Laddie. Unfortunately, it seems the enemy was not alone. More of them appear behind you, closing in fast. A man's voice emerges from the helmet and suit of armor before you. Those worthy of being Maiden must never let their guard down, Lavia, it chides. I know, Gladio. I know, the boy grimaces. What luck! It appears you bumped into the Crimson Maiden completely by chance. Which would make this Gladio fellow, in all the armor, the Crimson Attendant. This is all terribly convenient. You thank the duo for saving Laddie, and explain that you will have need of the Maiden's relic, if they'd be so kind as to lend it to you. The Crimson Maiden appears startled by your sudden request. Apologies, but we're in a hurry, he says curtly. Apparently, a foul beast the Dominion uses for blood sport has escaped, and it has fallen to the Crimson Maiden to recapture it. Unwilling to let these two out of your sight after such a fortuitous meeting, you agree to help them track the beast down. The woman's eyes dart between you as she scribbles something in her notebook. She who controls the information controls the fight, she says, before asking how powerful you are. I'm gonna apprentice with the attendant, the man boasts. He drops to the ground and manages a mere 5 push-ups before collapsing in exhaustion. The innkeeper challenges you to an arm wrestling match in lieu of any greeting. She then informs you that strong warriors such as yourself get to rent rooms free of charge. As you walk away, you're fairly certain you hear her bitterly complaining that she's yet to win a single match and that her business is doomed. The party leaves the inn feeling rested. You stepped on my foot, the man says, squaring up to you mere inches from your face. You apologize profusely, hoping to avoid any trouble. "Aw, we were supposed to duke it out," he says, clearly disappointed. The man stands stock still, silently praying over those whose lives were lost in the arena this day. Apparently, battles with captured monsters in the arena are quite the spectacle. There is one ferocious beast, she explains, that has vanquished every warrior to have challenged it. Watch yourself. Folks around here will use any excuse to start a fight, the woman warns you. You can't help but notice the glint of a knife in her belt. The Maiden's shrine yet stands, though you think it looks rather forlorn. Clearly, it has been neglected in favor of the arena. To hear this man tell it, the last Maiden was a proper hero of war. Compared to her, well, he trails off as a heavy sigh of disapproval forces its way out of him. Upon entering the shop, Laddie looks surprised and points at something. Following her gesture, you spy the familiar sight of this. The owner explains that this necklace had been stolen, but then, wonder of wonders, the very miscreant who made off with it later returned it himself. Suddenly, from the back of the shop, said miscreant shows himself. The one time, evidently, the owner took a shine to the honest thief and offered him a job working in the shop. You remove the dingy charm from your pack and hand it to the man. Taking it in hand, he is so overcome with joy that he begins to weep. As it turns, he grips the cherished charm tightly, explaining, "I only ever stole to put food on the table for my child." The shop owner proffers something to you, calling it a thank you for helping him meet a man with such an honest heart. "We need the money. The kids have to eat," the woman says to herself, seeming ready to put her life on the line to win. "No, no, I forgot my salve," the man yells in a panic. A sudden calm washes over him. Oh, wait, there was a merchant back in the vestibule. What an emotional ride this man's life. The man eagerly awaits his turn in the ring. "My quarrel is not with humans," he says gravely. "You take that to mean I'm not taking registrations now," the receptionist says flatly. well-to-do looking old man calls out to you. Care to try your luck? You decide to tempt fortune. The old man says that if you can roll a higher number than specified, you'll win a prize at no cost. A meager roll will require you purchase the prize from him at an inflated price. Now then, let's begin. Today's prize is... The old man pulls something from his bag. You take a die from the old man and give it a squeeze. It's do or die. Your wager with the old man pays off. He hands you your prize and says, "This is only the beginning," before taking his leave. This must be a stela of the Isle's guardian spirit. You come across an open-air stall. A sign reads, "Huge sale." As you peer into the stall, a merchant whirls around to greet you. The merchant says they're having a fire sale. Everything must go. The merchant says it's time to move on and begins closing up his stall. You cannot shop here anymore. Your pitch fails to even reach its target. You leave the area, hoping to hide your embarrassment. You find a beast lurking in the shadows of the valley, but it does not appear to be the one that the Crimson Maiden is searching for. It glares at you. Seems you're not getting out of this without a fight. Excellent. Your stance keeps slipping. Gladio hisses at Livia as soon as the final blow's been struck. Sorry, Livia shoots back and resumes scanning the area for monsters. You find a beast huddled in a small burrow in the rock wall, but it does not appear to be the one. Nevertheless, it is not happy to have an intruder in its home and attacks. The party readies for battle. You find a beast and immediately raise your sword to it, but it does not so much as flinch. Upon further inspection, it looks like a falling rock or something has crushed the poor creature's life right out of it. It's dead, Livia says flatly. Lack and Laddie suddenly exhale, hands pressed to their chests in relief. Gladio, sensing an imminent threat, tells everyone to be on their guard. The clanking of heavy chains precedes the appearance of a massive beast. Blood drips from the iron hammers clutched in its fists. The party grips their own weapons ever tighter, fighting their own looming sense of fear. Maiden launches one last attack as his attendant strikes the beast with the pommel of his sword. Lack and Laddie break out into a round of applause, which Levia greets with a smile and a playful swipe of his nose. We're not done. He binds the beast in chains, hoists it up with one hand, and carries it back toward the Dominion. You never did get to ask about the Maiden's relic in the end. You follow them back to Hero's Dominion in hopes of rectifying that oversight. Hero's Dominion. A place so renowned, stories of it reached you across the vast sea. Levia informs you that the Dominion attracts all manner of warriors who long to prove their strength in battle. There are even more than usual, he says, thanks to the tournament that's due to begin soon. The party makes their way to the arena, eager to return the captured monster to its cage. Here to stay the night? The innkeeper asks the moment you set foot in the inn. Gladio drops the monster in front of the reception desk with a wet, meaty thud. I felled it, Levia says without hesitation. I expected nothing less, the man behind the desk says with a hearty laugh. It quickly becomes clear, however, that this compliment was intended for Gladio. Levia chafes, but at least the beast has been returned. The party makes its way back out of the arena. What's a runt like you come to the arena for? The warriors sneer in Levia's direction. His blood clearly boiling, Levia spins around on a heel and raises his fist. Fists raised and eyes locked. You can see they'll come to blows any second now. You reckon Levia's no match for his opponent and decide to intervene on his behalf. You call out, and the warrior throws a flurry of fists your way. Thankfully, you anticipated this would happen and managed to dodge them cleanly. The warrior's meaty fist flies toward your abdomen. Your arm instantly meets it in the air, stifling the attack. Having successfully drawn him out far enough, you swing your leg up and deliver a beautiful kick. Enough, Gladio barks by way of intervention. Despite picking the fight in the first place, the warriors show no interest in going up against the attendant. They slink. By all accounts, Livia endures rather crude treatment, despite being a maiden. You snap out of your thoughts when Gladio turns and thanks you for aiding in the monster's capture. He tells Livia to show you to the inn, as if to suggest everyone could use a rest after that fight, and takes his leave. You arrive at the inn, eager to rest. You mention to Livia once more what brings you to the West Isle. You speak of the current state of Omega Isle, and how the Maiden's relics are key to saving the island. Livia hears your tale in full, only to politely decline your entreaty. He pauses for a moment, lost in thought. "I'm not the Maiden," he confesses rather abruptly. Lack helpfully explains that since Livia is not an official maiden, his relic is no more than an ordinary weapon, and therefore of no help to Laddie. He explains that while it's true he was born into a long line of maidens, he has not been recognized as the maiden on account of being a man. That his mother, the previous maiden, fell in battle, and he has simply been named as maiden to fill the role in the interim. Livia, his confession complete, bids you farewell and walks off. Clearly, the maiden's circumstances are as varied as the islands on which they live. Lack floats in the air, its mouth gently opening and closing. You presume it to be asleep. You lift your hands close to its ear and clap once with vigor. "Explosions! Help! We're all gonna die!" it shrieks, shooting even further into the air. Laddie sits in the chair, head bobbing in a desperate, if futile, struggle against sleep. She's no doubt exhausted from all the... Everyone is plainly spent from a day of fighting. The time has come for rest. "Enter the Maiden's match with me," Livia blurts out nonsensically, barreling into your room. "It's a special tournament, and it starts soon," Livia explains breathlessly. "As it happens, they'll select the next maiden from the winners. A fitting festival for the might-obsessed hero's dominion, you think? But will they actually recognize Livia as the next maiden if he wins?" Livia says he simply wants to win the tournament and gaze smugly at all the people who've called him weak over the years. You think back on how the citizens of the Dominion treat Livia. How hard he works at a dangerous occupation, yet receives no respect for it. You can hear the pain of it in his voice every time he speaks. "All right, it's a deal," you say, Besides, fighting people from all sorts of different places sounds like fun. When does it? You begin? But Livia cuts you off with an excited, tomorrow. The sun is dazzling on this, the morning of the tournament. The clanking of blades echoes all around you. Let's get to reception quick, Livia chirps as he joins you en route to the arena. Here to pick up a few scars? The man behind the desk asks with a smirk. He begins explaining the rules of the Maiden's match. Participants register in pairs, taking on the roles of maiden and attendant as they fight. Once you're registered, you can go wait in the vestibule, the man explains, gesturing at the far door. What do you think you're doing? The crimson attendant's voice stops you in your tracks. Let's go, Livia says as he runs through the door, perhaps presuming that Gladio has no business dictating what he can and cannot enter. Immature brat, Gladio sighs, his helmet hiding his expression from view. Even so, you detect a note of worry rather than fury in his voice. Laddie seems to be in good spirits. You imagine she'd say, "This ought to be fun." "You know we're going to fight, don't you?" you ask. Laddie turns pale. Clearly, she misunderstood what kind of tournament this was. "We'll show 'em all," Livia shouts, psyching himself up for the fight. The ringleader's voice echoes off the stone walls of the lobby. Onward to battle. The man's knees knock together. You reach out to him, concerned. "Don't mind me. This is all excitement," he barks, sweating. "I'll go easy on you," the woman says, brimming with confidence. All right. Good work. Livia wipes the sweat from his brow as you approach. You greet him, and he leaps back with a yelp. "Don't sneak up on me like that," he snaps, with no small amount of embarrassment. Ah, youth. Awkward youth. Laddie can hardly contain her excitement at having won. You can tell because she's looking up at the sky, furiously punching the air above her head. "My quarrel is not with you," the man says coolly, his trembling knees betraying his outwardly calm demeanor. "You're not the worst I've fought," the woman says, still exuding confidence. Okay, the only Excellent. You did great. The man hangs his head in shame, having lost in battle. For reasons beyond your understanding, his leg. I went easy on you, the woman seethes, remaining strong even in defeat. Buckle up, Buttercup, Lack shouts for some reason at Laddie, who is drained from the consecutive battles. If we win this next fight, that's it, Lavia says in quiet awe. Let's wipe those smug looks off everyone's faces, you say by way of encouragement. Yeah, Lavia shouts in response. The ringleader announces the final battle. There's no turning back now.